What can the body do for the mind? Buddhist philosophy certainly doesn't emphasize physical conditioning as much as it emphasizes mental conditioning. In fact, extreme levels of physical fitness might even be considered problematic, possibly stemming from a desire for external validation or an over-attachment to the body. The intent behind exercising matters. Are you trying to maintain or cultivate a healthy vessel that will support your mind and practice for as long as possible? Or are you trying to maintain or cultivate a great ass? That being said, I believe this is one of the few areas where the context of the world has changed too much for Buddhist ideas to feel like they're the ones I want to be drawing from. Because early Buddhists didn't have to worry much about being overweight because they were far more active. They lived in agrarian societies where they weren't working at computers all day. They were laboring, and they didn't have access to an overabundance of food the way we do today. The idea of artificially attempting to maintain a structure of strenuous exercise would have been, I think, hilarious to them. Additionally, they didn't have social media or TV advertising. Body image probably just wasn't a significant issue. So as much as there may be quote-unquote nobler ways to spend your time, how many times have you met someone who seems completely transformed mentally after getting into shape? People who have lost a lot of weight or completed their first 10K sometimes just start to glow. And we think, wow, Tammy is just a different person since she started working out. It seems obvious that a focus on the body can completely transform the mind for the better, even if the initial motivation behind changing one's body was to look more like a favorite Instagram influencer. The intention can come from the wrong place, and yet there are still numerous spillover effects like self-esteem, joy, stress reduction. There's also substantial evidence that exercise increases cognitive function and improves sleep quality. But more than that, I think exercise provides a sense of accomplishment and self-worth that is unique in that it is accessible to everyone. And not just accessible, it comes with quantitative milestones to achieve and improve upon, which is one of the core aspects of human ambition. And the quality of exercise-based milestones is kind of beautiful because there can be many personal and structural barriers preventing you from becoming, say, an astronaut or earning $1 million or becoming president. But even if you're locked in a cell in Siberia, nobody can stop you from planking for 10 seconds longer than you planked a week ago. As someone who has never easily gained muscle, when I did my first chin-up, I was walking on clouds. It didn't matter that other people around me could do 50 chin-ups. It was a relative goal that helped me redefine myself as someone who could get stronger if I just put in the effort, rather than someone who possessed weakness as an immutable trait. It goes without saying that this focus can quickly become obsessive and dark. Health concerns can become confused with aesthetic ones. But if we take the average person, I think it's uncontroversial to say that exercise might be one of the best things one can do for their happiness. Anecdotally, for me, it's very simple. I am at my absolute happiest when I'm playing a lot of sport. And I think there's more to it than endorphins. I think another part of the equation is that sport crowbars you into the present. In some way, it's an incredibly mindful thing to do. If someone's bowling a cricket ball at you, you're going to give that cricket ball your full attention. You're not going to be thinking about credit card debt or new gray hairs. You're there. Because if you're not there, there will be consequences. When I'm playing sport, all of my troubles dissipate for the duration of the game. It's escapism. You're able to escape your recurring anxious thoughts by being immersed in a physical battle where there is no time or space to be anywhere else mentally. But it's also a strange type of escapism because you're escaping from the fantasy world of your mind to the fantasy world of a game. So while you're wholly present in something artificially constructed. And the same goes for video games or any other form of competition. So both sport and mindfulness have this ability to pull you away from identifying with your thoughts, your future, or your past. But they differ in that competition pulls you closer to a made-up world, and mindfulness pulls you closer to the real world. And this leads to a very interesting question. Should we care about being closer to the real world if the fantasy world is bringing us greater well-being? That's a very big can of worms, which we can save for another time. But let's just simplify it. If sport is making me so happy, why can't I play it 24/7? And the short answer here is I've tried. In fact, I've tried this dozens of times, and I've played out the same cycle of events dozens of times in my life. Here's what happens. I'm playing some sport, and it makes me feel amazing. And I think to myself, why don't I do this more often? And then my next thought is, I literally can do this more often. So I join every amateur soccer, squash, and tennis competition I can find for the next season, and I sign up to 5 races. No trials or tribulations can bring me down until I inevitably get injured. And then suddenly I go from constant activity to being completely sedentary, and I become very upset because a high I've gotten used to has been ripped away from me. Without the endorphin and adrenaline hits I've become accustomed to, I'm essentially withdrawing. So I don't even have to solve philosophically whether or not playing sport constantly is good for me. I've solved it physically. The fact is my body can't hack it. So when I'm injured and grumpy and feeling sorry for myself, I decide to never try this again. I admit it's unsustainable. I need to find balance. And I read all the health journals and articles, and I listen to the podcasts, and I realize, okay, I need a little sport, but I also need a little weight training, a little low-impact cardio, a little mobility practice. And I do this for a while, and I get into really great shape, and everything is going fantastically. And then someone calls me and says, hey, can you fill in for my futsal team? And I go, well, I am supposed to train shoulders and back and abs today, but I could skip one gym session to help out a friend. And then I'm playing futsal, and it's so much fun, especially knowing that I would otherwise be at the gym, which I find so unbearably boring. And I think to myself, why don't I do this more often? And then my next thought is, I literally can do this more often. So I join every amateur soccer, squash, and tennis competition I can find for the next season and sign up to 5 races. The vicious cycle continues. But the fact that this is a vicious cycle seems very unfair to me. Most people listening, I imagine, have decided that some form of exercise is important for both their physical and mental health, even if they wouldn't consider themselves people who love exercise. We, as health-conscious people, find a way to fit in exercise and even prioritize exercise around our jobs and our families and our friends. And sometimes we find our thing, rowing, lifting weights, Pilates, badminton, yoga, whatever it is, we find a way to reconcile health and fun. So how dare people tell us that when we do too much of it, it's not healthy? You told me to exercise. I'm exercising all the time. Now you're telling me I can't do this exercise. I have to do different exercise. I need resistance training and cardio and mobility. And everybody hates one of those things. As I've said, for me, it's weight training. I'd say for many of my friends who love lifting weights, cardio is their cross to bear. For others, it's mobility. So I need some answers to a few things. A, can I be healthy simply just doing the exercise I love? And B, if I can't, how can I find a mindset that will help me reframe the exercise I hate? There must be something that fit productive people are thinking in order to maintain a holistic, healthy exercise routine. Which brings me to C, where do I draw the line? How important is exercise in the context of not just a holistic, healthy exercise routine, but a holistic, healthy life? And so to help me with all of these questions, I have a very accomplished guest on Thursday who is not only incredibly athletic, but is steeped in the science and psychology of training. And I hope they will be able to help me get to the bottom of all my body-based questions. I'm Jonah Primo. This is the Overexamined Life. See you then.